that time again to discuss the movies that I loved most from the previous year. Doing something a little different this year. Instead of a top 10 list, I'm doing a top 5, mostly because of timing purposes. It's kind of embarrassing when you release these videos and it's like April or May, the year's half over, and it's like we're still talking about the previous year. I just need to get these things out as fast as possible these days. I do want to get some things out of the way. There are movies that I did not see, big ones too. Some of them at the time I was just not seeing movies. I was going through some personal stuff. And then, more recently, I was just kind of sick. So, for example, I have not seen Nosferatu yet. It hurts to have not seen this, because I really want to see it. And I also didn't see The Substance. It was recommended to me. I wanted to see it. I didn't, unfortunately. So, if you don't see a movie on here, it's because I didn't see it, or I also just don't agree that it was that good. But in any case, guys, Happy New Year! And let's get started on my list of top 5 best and favorite films of 2024. Before we hit the list itself, here are some honorable mentions for the following. Best Horror.
A live television first, as we attempt to commune with the devil.
Are you a serial killer?
What did you just say?
Taffy says it's a waste of time to try and fix a boy. It's better just accept a guy's flaws.
Best Comedies.
You look like fucking Queen Victoria shoved a fucking nettle up her fucking pussy. I don't know.
No, I don't buy it.
What?
You're not a hitman. You can't be.
To get a gun.
Do you even know how to use it?
How hard can it be? Idiots use them all the time.
Best Romance.
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the movie.
And Best Sci-Fi.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
I don't need your help. But you do.
Do you have it in you to make it epic?
Number 5. Snack Shack. Man, this took me right back to my childhood. You remember in school those hardcore drama films that teachers would make you watch? You know, things that would tell you not to drink alcohol, be a gangster, get pregnant, that sort of thing. That's what this movie kind of feels like. Very fitting, since it's a movie that takes place in the 90s. The two lead characters are endearing, and what drives their friendship apart thanks to this girl is very compelling. The entrepreneurial nature of these two characters running this snack shack, you know, selling things like fuck dogs, basically just hot dogs, but with fuck written in ketchup on the hot dogs, and selling them to kids no less, is utterly hilarious. And in a bizarre way, kind of inspiring. But at the center of this comedy is a beating heart. It shows the power of friendship, the dangers of throwing respect out the window, the work it takes to rebuild what's broken, and is a surprisingly mature story that I think anybody can get behind. For the longest time, this was my number 1 film of the year. Time has proven that other movies have replaced it, but I couldn't leave this one out.
Just I'd fuck on it with ketchup, charging 75 cents more.
That's fucking genius, dude.
Number 4. Deadpool and Wolverine. Because of course this would be here. How could it not be? Marvel Studios was in desperate need of a win, and the combined might of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman gave the studio exactly what they needed and fans what they wanted. It's so funny because usually when studios know that a character has ran its course, they usually give that character a kind of swan song. Spider-Man Far From Home did that for Tobey Maguire and straight up redeemed Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Avengers Endgame did it for both Iron Man and Captain America. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, need I say more? But this did way more than just give us swan songs. It renewed interest for certain characters. Blade, Channing Tatum as Gambit and his infamous botched attempt at a solo outing for the Cajun Mutant. And who would have guessed that this would have redeemed Elektra? That wasn't on the bingo card. But it also gave us a second swan song for Wolverine. Logan was fantastic, make no mistake about that. But this works just as well. Oh man, Jackman is not going to be easily replaced. Sure, the villain is bland, the story barely makes a lick of sense, and many scenes are pure padding just to make extra jokes. But it's Deadpool being Deadpool, and is now its own little blood-stained icon of 2024.
I'm Marvel Jesus, you dull creature, and I will not.
Number 3. Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. This is kind of a shocker for me. Last year's Sound of Freedom was a bit of a mixed bag, in my opinion. So I went into this with a little bit of fear. Although it's a story about adoption, which means something to me, I'm adopted, but it's also a Christian story, which I am very skeptical of. Is that all you got? Oh, actually, that one's not bad. So the moment that religion enters this thing, you better be fucking reasonable. And thank God, it was. Yeah, I took his name in vain. Do something about it. But for real, this does exactly what I wish every religious film would do. Portray Christians as kind, generous, and accepting people. The whole premise is that this town of people are taking in hard-to-place kids that are that have their own set of mental health issues. The movie doesn't cram God down your throat and try to make it seem like God has all the answers, the clouds are gonna part, some God rays, and all the answers are just gonna fix themselves. This movie doesn't sugarcoat it with magic. These people are going through a hard time. These kids are going through a hard time adjusting to their new lives. The kids aren't perfect. The parents aren't perfect. They make their mistakes. They have their breaking points. And when they do screw up, they have to really work at it in order to find the forgiveness and redemption that they're looking for. It's truly one of the most powerful films of its kind, in either category of adoption films or religious films. In fact, this might be my favorite and my vote as the best one. Although that might depend on what kind of creative liberties it took. I don't know, I haven't really looked into it, but take it at face value, it absolutely earns its number 3 spot on my list.
What's happening with Possum Trot could mean a huge change for the system.
Number 2. The Parades. You've probably not even heard of this. It's a Netflix exclusive and it's a Japanese film. So people allergic to subtitles are already checked out. But for me personally, I don't really care about subtitles. It's like, I just like a good story. But more importantly, as time has gone on, as the year has progressed, it holds more relevance now than it did when I first saw it. I went through a death in the family over the summer. To be precise, a family friend that's been there since I was born. Basically a fairy godmother and all but a magic wand. Combine that with my petrifying fear of death, and this was kind of an easy recipe to make a movie that would depress me more than anything. But in actuality, it did something that I kind of needed. It gave me hope and peace. The whole story is about a woman who dies and meets other people that have died with diverse backgrounds. Yet it explores ideas of passion, regret, redemption, and feels like a cautionary tale of what you're going to leave behind if you don't do the things that you want to do now. But maybe, just maybe, there's something else beyond what we know. And that's been of great comfort to me. Hell, if you want the sitcom version of this, The Good Place is basically this. It has a very similar effect, having rewatched it recently, so I might recommend that if you prefer laughs over tears. This may not be for the faint of heart, but if you can handle the emotions, it's well worth the payoff. Before we hit the number 1 spot, here are my final honorable mentions for the following. Best Drama.
Ya, yo no sé. Lo que pasen por encima nuestro no van a ver.
Le bonheur, c'est de continuer à désirer ce que l'on a déjà, mais...
今度は今度。今は今。
Is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?
When you write that?
All my life.
Enda lösningen är om vi renskötare flyttar på oss.
Det är inte det jag säger.
Här, vad säger du?
You will be in charge of supervising the Jews. Your survival will depend on that.
I just could not say it anymore.
What's he supposed to do, love you back?
Best Action.
Are you seeing this?
We got twins! Twins!
Best Fantasy.
I'm an if. Get it? Imaginary friend.
And Best Animation.
Riley's life requires more sophisticated emotions than all of you. You can't just bottle us up.
And my number 1 favorite film of 2024 is Flow. How appropriate that one of the creepiest animals that you could have ever made a movie about would become one of the most visceral and unique films of the year. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you haven't heard about this. It's French, but don't let that deter you. The cute animals do not talk, so there's no subtitles for you to worry about. The actions are totally interpretive, but it's not so abstract that you can't follow what the story is about. You absolutely can. The filmmakers are smart enough to keep things simple, though not so simple that it doesn't have its more cerebral moments. What exactly those moments mean to you, that's totally subjective. But for me, I just got incredible animation out of it that still sticks with me today. Speaking of animation, like I said before, these animals don't have like a God Emperor Disney-esque whimsical design. They look and act like real animals, and it feels almost like someone slapped on a motion capture suit on these animals and just let them do their thing. They're not super expressive, but they clearly have their own personalities, which really tickles me. It's such a simple story about coming together to overcome obstacles, to find a place to fit in and contribute to the community. Not everyone has to like each other, but you have to respect each other. And not a single word of that is spoken. And in this country that just has so little of that mentality thanks to certain events, I'm glad a movie like this exists. I genuinely hope people make time to see this in the future because it is deceptively impactful. Definitely one of the best animated films I've seen in a long time. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Hit that like or dislike button. All engagement is welcomed. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. And as always, have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there, and hope to see you soon. And last time saying it, Happy New Year.